Hello everyone, my name is Makeup by Plumtay and welcome back to my channel. For today's video, I thought that we would go through another round of why your makeup probably sucks. I have done a video like this before a couple of years ago and I just quickly skimmed through it to see what points I made. That video is actually cursed. I've definitely improved by miles from then. You know, the points still stand in that video and I didn't want to do any repeats. If you wanted to go watch that video, good luck to you. These are going to be completely different points or tips and tricks, maybe would be another good way to say it. But I'm going to essentially give a rundown on different parts of the makeup routine that could potentially be buggering up your makeup and you may not even realize it. But before we begin going through what could be messing up your makeup, I would love if you would consider subscribing. I do post every single week and I would absolutely love if you would leave a like. It does help me out a ton. And without further ado, let's get straight into possible reasons why your makeup just ain't makeuping. So of course we're going to start off with the base, although I haven't put on any primer yet. I should probably go do that first. Am I the only one who loves drawing random patterns with my primer? As you probably predicted, the first part of this makeup, how would you go about it? Step by step, manual, instruction? Oh, I don't know. We're starting with the base. This is honestly something I've only just recently started doing myself, but I have found that it has made the biggest difference in my makeup routine. And this even applies to creative or editorial makeup. And that is that less is definitely more in a lot of cases. I mean, obviously it doesn't apply to everything, especially for products that are kind of sheer and you really want to layer that on, or I don't know, maybe a mascara. Specifically for your base routine, less can be so much more. And now I am saying that as somebody with oily, quite relatively clear skin, but of course that is going to be different for everyone else's routine. This still does apply for like specifically the under eye area, because everyone has those. If you have watched a few of my videos before, you'd know that I don't like to wear foundation. It's a bit too much for me, so I tend to just slather a concealer all over my face anyway, which kind of defies the point, but I feel like a lot of the times they're a lot more of a thinner formula. Today's concealer of choice is the Makeup Revolution in Real Life Filter Finish Concealer. This one is in the shade C3. I think it has a name. I don't think it has a name. So the premise of this first part is less is more, and the way I go about doing this is I would just literally take out my concealer and dab a little bit on my brush. Now of course you can also put it onto your hand. A lot of people do recommend putting it on your hand because it warms up the product and makes it blend in a lot more. I have a lot of sensory issues, so I'm not going to do that. I really want to invest in like one of those metal artist palette of things, but I'm not there yet, so directly onto the brush it goes. And I use quite a relatively big brush. Of course, use what you have. You don't have to get this specific brush, and honestly I should probably use the smaller one, but I'm lazy, so that's why I use this massive one. The premise is you want to lightly do what I picture as an airbrush. So for example, let's see, like this spotty area here, I do a little brush in circular motion. And the way that this works in my less is more is you're not going to have a massive blob of concealer on that spot or on that area. It's just a nice light coating. And a lot of the times this does prevent cakeiness that I find in my own experience. I'm not a professional, by the way, so anything I say is just all my own experiences. But I do find this does reduce cakiness, so if this is something that you do experience, definitely try the less is more approach. You see a lot where people just do a massive triangle, and I do kind of do that for my makeup videos, but that's just purely for the visual part of it, and you can't exactly see the texture when I do those, so I get away with it. But again, you just want to do a little bit, you don't want a lot on this. Just gently brush under your eye. I find this technique works really well when I'm quite spotty or I have a bit of redness. Let's say here for example, you can see I'm a bit all spotty and I keep picking it, which is actually quite bad of me. But like here, this is how it starts and then it's gone. like Houdini. So you want to apply that to basically every part that you want to conceal. Like here, they've got a bit of redness. You just want to do nice, soft, circular motions, not being too harsh or heavy-handed with it. You actually want to be quite light. And of course, if it isn't as much coverage as you want, you can go back in with another light layer. I don't know what the magic with this kind of technique is. Even though you're not applying as much product, somehow it still gives you a lovely coverage and basically just deletes any spots or blemishes on your face, which I don't know how that works. Now the same premise of less is more still applies for the rest of the base makeup. In this instance, your cream, blushes and bronzers. I had a complete mind blank. I can think of what it was. It also does apply for powders, but because it's winter, I'm going for cream products. Winter? What am I on? What's happening? It's still autumn. I'm gonna go for cream products. Now you're gonna do the exact same with your bronzer and your blush. You don't want to apply too much product. I know it's so tempting to want to just apply as much as you can onto your brush and go straight in for it, especially if you're running late on time. You just kind of want to slap on some color. But a lot of the times that's what ends up making your makeup quite cakey because you've just applied so much. And again, I find that with this technique, it makes your makeup so much more airbrushed, especially with the mixture of the creamy products, or like texture wise. I find that it does make it so much easier to blend in all together, like with the other products on your face. But you just want to go slow, you just want to be gentle. And it's definitely so much easier to blend out when you have less products, because imagine trying to blend out a massive like orange patch on your forehead. So that there's no way there's no recovering from that. Not to repeat myself, but again, you want to do the exact same thing with your blush. And I am actually going to put this on my hand this time because this particular blush has an illuminator to it, which I find so pretty. I have actually fallen in love. I think this is one of the most underrated products at the moment on the market, and this is the Rimmel London Multitasker Turbocharged Glow Liquid Illuminator. Is this gorgeous, like natural blushed pink with hints of, would you say, like silvery gold? No, definitely gold in this light. I'm hoping that the camera is picking it up, but it does have this really nice shimmery flex into it, which I suppose you kind of want in an illuminator. So just put a bit on your hand and then you want to pack it onto your brush. This step is almost like you're blending it onto your hand, but the main premise is to ensure the product is all over your brush but without the product being too much in one space. It's more of a dispersed product. You know, sometimes you get those patches on your skin where it's more pigmented, or I don't know, it's just, it looks so patchy or something's just not blending. This helps to prevent that. Again, I'm not a professional, this is all based on my own experiences. I'm just trying to share the love. And then because we have the nice sheen of bronzer that you've just applied, it's blending so nicely with it, which is definitely a lot more harder to do if you have just like a very strong stripe of color there, and it definitely makes it more natural if you're a natural kind of gal. Do you see how the colors just seamlessly blend? You don't have any obvious lines of your bronzer or your blush. It's all kind of accumulated into this really nice natural blush. The next step that I think is one of the most important is setting your base. I feel like it's the foundation, well, the most important part of your makeup looking nice. This one really does depend on your skin type. As I mentioned, I am a very oily gal, but I can be quite combination-ish in terms of dryness. This is what I found works for me, but of course it may be completely different for your skin tone. But the premise is still there. You want to find the perfect way to set your face for your skin type. And the way I go about doing it a lot of the times is applying a setting spray first and then applying a powder. I feel like the setting spray locks everything in place. I'm not really a dewy kind of gal. I feel like the powder locks in the setting spray, if that makes sense, and also takes away a lot of the sheen that you get from the cream products and also your setting spray. So let's go about doing that now. I never make this look good on camera, so close your eyes for like 5 seconds. Oh, that was so cold. Wait for that to dry. I realised I never mentioned the rest of the products I'm using. So this is the Milani Cheek Kiss Cream Bronzer. This is in the shade 120 Spilling Tea. I got this at Superdrug Presents this year and I have not stopped using it. It's so good. And then for the setting spray, NYX the Plump Finish Setting Spray. One of my all-time favourites, although I just started using the glue spray. I can't remember what that one was called exactly. And then for powder, again using Milani. This one is the Conceal and Perfect Blur Out Powder, and I believe it's translucent. Yeah, if you can believe it, translucent in the shade number 1. So we're just gonna open her up. I think with the powder step, this also edges in along the premise of less is more, because if you apply way too much powder, then that's gonna dry out your face so quickly. It's gonna look like you haven't drank water in about 30 years, even if you are about 12. But you just want to be delicate. You don't want to apply too much. And again, this just gives me a feeling of setting that setting spray, if you can actually believe it. But it's really just dulling all of the sheen that you get from the setting powder. Just a light dust. I just realised that I forgot to mention one of the main reasons why you want to put as less product on your eyes as possible. And that's because it's one of the most thinnest part of your eyes. That's what could cause a lot of cakiness when you apply a lot of product under there. You just want to be very delicate with that area. Treat it as kindly as you can. The next step that I want to focus on is to do with the eyeliner. Please do not pull on your eyelid when applying eyeliner. I see so many people do it. That is one of the worst things that you can do for your eyeliner. I do actually have a valid reason for this. When you pull on your eyelid, it changes the shape of your natural eye. So then you're applying makeup to an eye that will change. If that makes sense. I'll give you a demonstration. So I'm going to be using a pencil liner. This is actually one I got from Spain, so I don't even know if this is available here, but this is the brown eyeliner in Pure Espresso number 2 from L'Oreal Paris. This is what it's like when you pull your eye like this. You see how the shape has already changed? It creates such a massive change as well if you have hooded eyes, for instance. Well, I'm gonna have to do it the other way. You would say that the eyeliner looks relatively good like this, wouldn't you? But then the second you drop your eye, it's not. It's closing my eye up and it doesn't follow along with my natural eye shape. What you want to do with the eyeliner as well is you want to follow your natural eye shape. So for mine, I always want to go for an up and out kind of direction, whereas this tends to make it droop downwards, which is not something you want to do. This is just going to mess with the shape so much. Let's do it again, but properly on the other eye. The main thing you want to do is keep your eyes open like you would naturally, because I also see people squint their eyes, which also changes the shape. People don't realize that either. So you want to make sure that your eyes are open as they usually would be, and then that's when you would follow the curve of your eye. I hope that you see the difference as much as I can. Sometimes my camera struggles to pick things up, but this one follows along with my eye shape, as I keep repeating a million times, whereas this eye goes more down. And that's all just because I've been manipulating my eye shape, whether you pull on your eye to do your eyeliner. It does seem like it would help, but in the long run, it just doesn't. It's not something you should do. Again, as I mentioned before, the less is more part of it. It just messes with the sensitivity of your eye. You want to be gentle to your eyes. The main part of this: keep your eyes open. Don't manipulate them with your fingers or by squinting, because again, that completely changes the shape of the liner. You want to keep your eyes open and you want to follow the natural curve. What I also find helps with this is if you get an eyebrow brush and gently brush the tips so they're not as rounded. It gives them that sharp point that you're probably looking for. Now, the last tip that I wanted to talk to you about is to do with the lips. I also feel like this could be a make it or break it moment for your makeup look, and this is in terms of the color choice, which sounds a bit daft, but what I mean is, in some shades look very, very nice and you're like, oh, that looks good, but when you apply it, it tends to be too light. You keep trying, but no matter how much you apply, it just doesn't go right. And I have the most simple remedy for those moments, and that's a lip liner. It sounds so stupid, doesn't it? But honestly, for the longest time, I avoided lip liners because I was like, I can get the perfect shape with my lipstick. What do I need a lip liner for? But I have found that these have been an absolute lifesaver when it comes to lipstick. And especially when it's lipstick you've gotten with your money. You thought it suits your skin tone and it just doesn't quite go well. You don't want to throw away that product. So the power of the lip liner, it will transform your lipstick completely. Here's an example. So this is actually the most common lip combo that I use on a daily basis. I get so excited to show everyone this because I'm just amazed. But I'm starting off with the Morphe 2 Good Talk Blotted Matte Lipstick. This one is in the shade Pink Pucker with a P. I'm actually going to use this first before the lip liner so I can tell you what I'm on about. For this one, like the shade in particular, it's just a tad bit too on the pinky undertone light shade for me. I do try my best to get away with it, as I mentioned before, but I find that this kind of just makes it look like I've had a bit of an allergic reaction or I've just ate something spicy. Like this, it does not look the best, does it? But then that's when the power of the lip liner comes in. So I don't have to throw away that shade, and it actually really does transform the lip. But for this, I am going in with a darker lip shade compared to the lipstick. And that is the main point to all of this. You want it to be darker than the lipstick because then it gives a nice ombre effect. For this one, I'm going to be using the brightening is all completely worn off. But this is the MUA, I think it's Intense Color lip liner. And this one is in the shade Obsession, which is just a bit of a deep brown. With this, I'm just going to line my lips as usual. I hope you see the difference in just doing this one side. It's gone from being something that does not suit me. It looks like I've had a bit of a reaction. I don't know if you're allergic to fish. I've just ate a prawn. Oops. Gone to that to now, oh, that's a pretty nice lip colour. I feel like it adds a bit of depth to the lip shade, and it's just so simple. All you got to do is outline the lighter colour and it transforms the lips completely. And as I said before, it sounds so simple, but I feel like people underestimate the power of a lip liner because I definitely did. You could also mix this in with the lip shade so you can completely cover it, or you can just do around the edges like I'm doing with the ombre effect that I was talking about. Because this is darker, just here especially, you can see that lighter shade still coming through, so you've not completely gotten rid of it, you've just darkened the edges to suit your skin tone, or I don't know, the rest of your eye makeup, you can match them together. And that was the last of my points. So that is everything that I wanted to bring attention to today. So just for an overview, the first point, less is more. Don't use too much product. You can always start off light and build up, but if you go straight in for it, it's so much harder to deal with than just putting on layers rather than going to town in your face trying to blend it. I promise you, it's so much better to deal with. Secondly, figure out the perfect way. God damn motorbike. Figure out the best way to set your face. It is so important because if you don't do it properly, that's when your makeup will start to shift and melt and it won't look as good as when you first applied the makeup, especially if you do tend to get quite sweaty, and that's when everything starts smearing and you become a raccoon. Next one, do not manipulate your eyes or your facial features in any way. Make sure to stay as relaxed as possible because your eye shape will change, your lips will change, or even when you do the blush, some people still do the technique. It will change. It's sort of like when you try on jeans for the first time and you suck in. You're not going to be constantly sucking in when you're walking around with those jeans on. Make sure you're relaxed. Let the makeup accommodate your face, not your face accommodate the makeup, if that makes sense. And lastly, just praise lip liners in all honesty. If you have a colour that is too light, I mean, even if it's too dark, you could always do the opposite way to what I was mentioning about with the lip liners. There's always ways to go about with preventing waste with makeup. And a lot of the times the two-dimensional colours, the ombre effect, it adds so much depth and just elevates a makeup look that I think, I don't know, I love it. But that will be it from me today. I really hope that this video was helpful. If you do any of these steps, in no way were any of these a dig. I just simply want to help everyone with their makeup journey. And if there is any that you do want to give a try, feel free to let me know. I would absolutely love to know. And apart from that, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see all of you in my next one.